No.
Okay,
But we
we're gonna go
dropped
live
so
right
much. We dropped so much great stuff.
We did.
So
We're
much
live
life.
now. I'm not
Okay,
gonna
great.
do the intro again.
It's heartbreaking.
Ben, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm considering this the soft launch for the YouTube channel.
This is a very soft launch.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you guys to come on. I'm like, where's
sorry
Fabrizio
about
at?
Oh man,
Feather launch. Yeah, I was watching chat. I was like, it's pretty quiet out there.
that is so funny. Yeah, the softest of launches.
It's very soft. You won't even know it's happening. Cool.
Oh man,
But we are live now.
we are live.
Yes, you are live now.
I am Nate Taylor. Welcome to Fabrizio's live stream.
I'm Fabrizio. Welcome to my live stream.
I'm not Fabrizio. I'm just here to tell Fabrizio he was not live.
Thank you.
It was not live for 30 minutes.
For about 20 minutes. Yeah.
Very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. I think you might have to do this every time just to make sure we're actually live.
yeah, we'll do that.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know if something happened. If you guys were just not
paying
running
attention.
late, or
There's like a nuclear warhead that went off.
right. Is Fabrizio lying in a ditch somewhere?
It's possible. It's always possible.
And you had to decode, the countdown. Maybe there was a secret message.
Yeah, it was every frame was "help me, please," and an address and a phone number. Every other frame.
Oh man.
Cause for concern.
Yeah, my last will and testament was on this video. I mean, everything important, really. So
Yeah.
it's lost. It's all
Some big
lost.
announcements coming across.
Sorry, I missed it.
It's all right. It's just never going to happen again. It's a once in a lifetime thing. I think I might actually finish mine as well on this stream. So are we going to start? Are we going to go an hour from now?
I don't know. Whenever you want to bail, that's fine.
I'm in for the endurance. I'm going as long as you're going to be live here. I'll stick with it. I don't have anything else going.
I do have to get working on some more pages. Although the inking, something I've noticed over the years is I do all this penciling, for weeks and weeks or whatever. I get all the pages done and then I switch to inking. And sometimes it really takes a while to get into that a bit. So I've been trying to ink and draw at least a little bit at the same time.
Yeah. Ink and draw at the same, alternating?
Alternating, sorry.
Alternating,
Yeah,
okay. Not one with one hand.
Yeah, I ink with my right.
That's
and
pretty
I
funny.
draw with my
Draw
left.
with your foot. Draw with my teeth.
That's coming out great, man. That looks good.
Thank you. I think if you're talking to me.
Fucking sweet.
I was talking to myself, but yeah, yours too.
So Ben, I'm assuming you're with Alterna, right? Do you draw comics?
No, I'm not with Alterna. I'm just I'm just a fanboy, just hanging out.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you draw?
I do, yeah.
Awesome. Do you work on a comic?
Yeah, I self-publish my own comic book.
Oh, that's awesome. What's it called?
It's called Tricks and Treats, and it's like a horror anthology.
Awesome. I'll check it out. That sounds great. Tricks and treats.
Are you working on anything today, Ben? Or
I am. I'm just not going to be on screen because it's digital.
gotcha. Do you use Photoshop or do you use Clip Studio or?
Clip Studio for drawing, and then I like to ink traditionally.
Oh yeah.
But if I'm in a hurry, I'll just ink digitally.
How does that work? Do you do the pencils digitally?
Right. Yeah. So I'll do the pencils digitally, and then I'll print it out like a really light blue line.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
This is really cool. What about the physical ink do you prefer?
So I like to use a couple of different inks. I'll use, I think it's Doc Martens matte black ink.
Yeah.
And then Noodler's, I think it's called Dark Heart. I'd have to check it. Or Heart of Darkness. Hold on a second. I got the bottle right here.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's called Heart of Darkness.
Inking was kind of a. Do you use a brush or do you?
Yeah, I'll use a brush.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when I first started using a brush, it was this huge revelation to me, because it never clicked how comic artists made their work look the way it did. I just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Maybe I was just a dull child, but when I first tried brushing ink, it was like this crazy thing. It's like, oh my gosh, it looks like. I mean, it wasn't good, but it like looks. It's in that style of like Calvin and Hobbes or anything that's even animation that looks brushed. It's crazy. It was just really exciting.
Yeah, I
Figure
remember
that out.
in I guess grade school, my art teachers, when they first were kind of giving us, okay, these are the things you can draw with.
Yeah, right.
And it was always like a pen and nib.
Right.
The idea of inking with a brush just was never, ever even offered as an option.
Yeah.
And so I had discovered that on my own too. Once you realize that the current comics are used, a lot of them use brushes.
Yeah.
And then I switched, but for a long time I didn't even know it was a thing.
I didn't either. It's the weirdest thing too, because it's great, and it's not like there's precedent for it. People have been doing it for a while. I don't know why it isn't taught. You get it. I was pen and nib for a while too, and I never really cared for that. I know Fabrizio, you like your crow quills, right?
I do, but I just for Horace and for the style I'm looking for now, I don't use them. But I was almost exclusively that for a very long time.
That's pretty neat.
But I was doing just like pretty detailed illustration stuff too. So I think as soon as I switched over to comics, it just immediately became apparent for me that with the style, with the character and everything, brush really was the way to go.
Yeah. That's neat. And you use it for everything, right? The backgrounds, the characters, the everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did one page where the backgrounds I was using a Micron, and I'm like, no, that's not working for me.
Yeah, it does look. Yeah, Micron is really weird. I think Micron is even less line weight variation than you get with some other pens. I think it's sort of engineered to be a very even line weight. Because I used to use these super blurty, like I think they were like V5s or something. They weren't even really art pens, but I would use them because I would get like very thick thicks and very like thin thins, and it was just this really nice line that I would get out of those. And then when it all flattens out a lot when I switch to Micron.
Like I know that the old guys used to do, brush, and they would essentially make a ruler and angle it up and do these straight edges that way. I've never had success doing that.
That's nuts. Neither have I. That is very difficult. It must be the angle. But whatever they did to keep it from just smearing across when they pulled their ruler away, I don't get that.
It's just magic.
Yeah, probably magic. They had some dark pacts.
He sacrificed children and goats.
Seems likely.
Hey, that's what I have to do.
That's what you got to do. Yeah.
Sure, your baby, right?
Surely I can find that stuff on eBay.
Yeah, you baby.
Hey, North Free.
Hey, North Free, how's it going?
Hi.
Happy Sunday.
Ooh.
If it wasn't for Ben, me and Nate would still be talking to ourselves.
That's right. Which isn't that different than every day, just
and
normal.
Not realizing we were on.
See, I did this for the people, so they could watch you.
I could recap actually the first half hour. I'll do it real quick. I hate reflection sometimes. This is a pain in the butt. but I'm working through it. That's pretty much it.
We talked about how great it was that you actually had a character. It was a cool creative choice to have a character with a big reflective surface. I thought it was cool because it's almost like when they do CG in films, they have those probes that they put out, and it sort of shows you the ambient light and the direct light and stuff. And it's cool that Horace's head is basically one of those. So you get this little snapshot of what the lights are in the space that he's in, just off looking at his face. We talked a little bit too about how you have to sort of pose him a little differently because he doesn't have a mouth or eyes or stuff that you can track emotion with.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why, in the past, a lot of superheroes, their face or part of their face was exposed, and I think Spider-Man, the first one, I feel like he was the first one where his face wasn't exposed, and that was sort of a big deal.
That's really, I never realized that. That makes so much sense. That's wild.
And I don't know when it started, but I remember, at least I know McFarlane used to do it. He used to do like his eyes would be expressive, so they would shrink and get bigger, which I thought was a cool idea. I don't know if there was another artist that did that or not.
Probably Eric Larson.
What? I'm not as much of a comic book initiate. What characters did Eric Larson do?
A Spider-Man. He drew Amazing Spider-Man after McFarlane left the book, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
But until something changes, he's gonna have a big reflective part on his face. So
why can't we go back to Lil Abner? That's what I want to know. Why can't we have great classic characters like Lil Abner? You never seen Lil Abner?
I know the name, but
he's just like a country
baby,
kid.
wasn't he?
Was he a baby? I thought he was like a guy. He was like a teenager.
That's a weird name for a teenager.
Lil Abner.
Well, maybe.
I mean, it might have been one of those comics where the main character is the name of the comic, but you actually spend more time with other people in the comic. I don't know. Or Mutt and Jeff. Mutt and Jeff were great.
One of my favorite things to do also is, oh man, I'm off camera, damn it, is for me to like do all these frames in the background, I have to put something in them. Like, because of the time period or whatever, there's always going to be a lot of pictures on the wall, so that's sort of like part and parcel, but that really gives me an opportunity to do some weird stuff in these photos. Like do portraits of just a monster in a suit or something, I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. I always thought it was funny to put like my renditions of famous paintings. I think I was illustrating a bus shelter for a project one time, and I put a big like a big seal, like the animal, in a giant black cloak with his right arm extended, and I put the title of The Seventh Seal under that. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I could
It was like the Ingmar Bergman movie, The Seventh Seal. Sorry.
Yeah, that always pops up in like an image search for weird stuff.
It does, yes, it does. So you'll do maybe a portrait of a gentleman monster.
I don't know, maybe.
That could be cool. It's like a Joshua Reynolds sort of.
I used to think that like putting little stuff like that was for the reader, and it totally is for the reader, but it's just as fun for the creator to put in little puzzle or little clues of stuff, in the background.
Which you were talking about, the books, the amount of books that you have to draw. That always felt to me like a fun opportunity to hide a lot of Easter eggs on book spines and things.
Yeah, and something I've been doing very purposefully is to mix completely fabricated stuff with real stuff, which I just always like that idea. Because if you're constantly just making up languages and symbols and stuff, I think it might be obvious, so I think the trick is to really incorporate it with something that already exists. That's a Lovecraftian thing for sure. In a description, he'll talk about 5 fake books and 1 real, or vice versa, and it really lends itself to some verisimilitude.
It's a fun blurring of the lines. I think that's always enjoyable. There are times I don't think it's possible for an individual artist to do this, but there are times when it's kind of gross. I think we've seen that in a lot of more recent movies and things, sort of the blurring of the lines where the characters will go to McDonald's, or you know what I'm talking about? Like there'll be like cultural phenomena that'll be baked into the movie, and it's like played off as a joke.
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Okay.
Do you have an example? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm specifically thinking of the movie Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, where they meet. Do you remember the thing about about Ugly Sonic, when the first Sonic the Hedgehog and the internet blew up? Well, they put Ugly Sonic in the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movies, along with everything else that Disney owns, and it was less haha, that's funny, that's our culture, and more, wow, Disney is really at the point where they own everything, lock, stock, and barrel. So it's just weird. But I think when individual artists do that, that's a very different thing than somebody like huge and corporate doing it. But I do like that blurring of the line. I don't know if any of you have read Cerebus by Dave Sim. It's an older indie comic.
I know that, but never read it.
Okay, I wouldn't recommend it. It's all right. But one fun thing he does is he'll include real life. Some of his characters are just real life actors. Like Groucho Marx is just a character. He plays this character Lord Julius, who like rules the whole fantasy country. And there'll be Oscar Wilde is in it as a character, which is kind of fun and fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. But it's that similar, like, I guess, blurring of the line. So what's next once you finish this one, Fabrizio? Are you going to start another sort of splash image like this? Or? Yeah,
for sure. I think I have like 4 of these sort of already in the queue. So I will save these for the streaming too, just so people could, if they wanted to, they could see the whole process for one drawing. I don't know if these are...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if I'll ink actual pages on the stream or not. I might. Let's see.
Yeah. And these will all be up on your YouTube channel, so people can sort of follow along the progress?
Yeah, they will. I'm sure I'll drop a few of these that I've completely messed up, but that's all right. Just getting used to the software and all that jazz. I was so excited because I had my own custom countdown today, and
it was awesome. For those of us who were able to see it, it was really cool.
Jeez,
well, it's not gone forever. You'll have it next time.
No, I know.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, "Oh, this is a production." This pressure's on.
Well, I've been dipping into After Effects. So I'm like, well, I might as well do a little custom countdown. I thought that would be a nice little addition.
Absolutely. It's really cool.
I got so excited I didn't press go live.
Sorry.
It's really cool you have to be there.
Yeah, you really do. It's more of an experiential sort of thing.
So if you want to see this custom thing, you're just going to have to wait until next time.
That's right. Join us next time for...
You know what's funny though? I'll be honest. This whole drawing, I've actually probably made it more detailed than I normally would. Just out of the fact that I'm going to, for an hour and a half, whatever, I'm going to be streaming. So I'm like, okay, this is what I'll be working on. So just keep working on that thing, add more details, etc. Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is neat. It's with this map that I've been working on with you on these streams. I think we only ever did. I was only on one other one with you, but yeah, and it's kind of it's fun to have something like that. I'll just pick this one up and I'll chip away at it. It's very different. It's a nice change from the stuff that's like, okay, I gotta sit down and knock this out.
Yeah.
Art for fun. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought drawing could be fun?
What kind of ink are you using, Fabrizio?
Dr. Martin's Black Star. Okay. But man, I jump from ink to ink, and sometimes I mix them, and I'm really I'm all over the place with the inks.
What about you, Nate?
I'm using just a micron.
Okay.
Big micron. Yeah. Which, I don't know. I'm open to trying. If anybody has recommendations for other pens, I'm always open to trying other pens. Always been more of just like a ballpoint. I just prefer. I really want to do something someday that's all in ballpoint. Because I love that very fine quality that it gets to it, almost hair thin. But yeah,
that's always controversial.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know why.
I didn't see that. I'm like, yeah. I don't know if there's been one that isn't controversial.
If not frowned upon, yeah.
Great. I wonder why.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna.
It's the high schoolers' implement of choice. Proudly drawing cool S's and pictures of guns since whenever it was invented. 1984.
So yesterday, actually, and today, I went through and bagged and boarded all of my new comics that I've been just getting, back in campaigns, and they just get stacked sort of in the corner until I have time to go through them. But man, is that fun. It was, I bought a brand new box, which I haven't done in a while. There's just something that really feeds the soul, boarding, backing, and organizing these comics.
That's awesome.
And when it's all done, you feel accomplished.
Yes, exactly.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, I was telling Nate, ever since I started working on Horace, not only do I feel good about writing the stories or whatever, but it's kind of turned me back into a fan, which I kind of got away with. I got away from for quite some time.
Why do you think that is? What did you walk away?
So I would kind of dip in and out is really what it was. I collected extensively for a long time, and then, I don't know, nothing was really catching my eye, so I would just pop in and back, grab something. Oh, that was pretty good, but it didn't. I still felt like I was reading the same thing over and over and looking at the same things over and over, and that no matter how many times, even if the story's okay, at a certain point, you just want something different. And it wasn't until I started drawing and looking to see what was out there again, like indie stuff, that I really got excited about stuff. I don't know, there's all sorts of really cool artwork, different styles that really got me excited.
So which one pulled you back in?
What's that?
Which book pulled you back in?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, I remember getting a big stack from Alterna before I did the Horace stuff. And that was the first time I really felt like I was kind of a kid again. I used to get these piles of books. So that was really, I think, the first thing that I'm like, hey, wait a minute, there's some really interesting, cool stuff out there. And then I got on Twitter, and Twitter was a big thing for me. I really didn't know that there were that many great indie developers out there, creators, I should say. So Twitter's been huge for me.
Is that where a lot of I didn't realize there was much of a comics, that was the go-to for comic artists.
I mean, I feel like there's a bunch. What about you, Ben? You've been on it obviously longer than I have, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. It's there's different sects, like different groups of creators that are probably like politically divided.
Right.
So, but there's definitely community out there if wherever you lean, you know.
That's awesome. I guess I've just never seen it. I mean, it's really neat. I think I was blind to Twitter as a visual sort of platform. I think I just assumed the whole time it was just about words, but that's not true at all. It's really cool.
Good Lord, me doing these lines, this is brutal.
Which line? What are you working on? What part of it?
Working on this top right here. This stuff. I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah, straight lines with brush.
I don't know what I got myself into. I'm like, well, I can go solid black, but I actually think if I did solid black in the background, it would conflict too much with his helmet. So I'm like, I gotta do lines, but this gonna get tough.
It's time to pass it off to your intern.
Yeah.
It's always whenever I'm reading manga, I have to remind myself, oh wait, it's not just the one dude. He's got a team of people to do all those noodly little skyscraper windows and things.
Really? I didn't know that.
A lot of them do, yeah. A lot of them work with the team.
So that's like a traditional, like old school painters that would.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Some sort of idea. But I've always thought that would be nice to pass off the boring parts, the difficult parts.
Then I think you would just get bad at what you need to.
Probably.
You know? Like, I can't draw buildings. I'm like, well.
Give it to the intern. Yeah, give it to my apprentice.
I think it was Frank Miller who did Sin City because one of the reasons he's like, I can't draw cars and women, and he's like, so he sort of gave him himself the task of facing the stuff that he can't draw, which I thought was a cool idea.
Yeah, good on Frank Miller. I had no idea.
So far cars, I mean, I haven't really had to draw too many, but that'll come around, I'm sure.
I've found my favorite activity lately is when we're on a car trip to bust out the sketchbook and try to draw the cars as they go past, which is like you get, 5 seconds. You get these really, really short windows to draw these to get the sort of structure down. It's been helpful and kind of fun. It's like a speed challenge sort of thing. But yeah, cars are tough.
So North3 said, question for everyone on the panel. Who's your favorite inker?
Ooh, dang. Wow. That's a good question.
Al Williamson. That is a good question. I'll go with that. What about you guys, if you have any thoughts?
Tremendous. I don't know a ton of comic artists, so I don't know a ton of inkers, but I really love what I've seen of Wally Wood. The way it just adds so much to the drawing. He's able to create lines that add a lot of plastic volume to the figures that he's making. I love it. So Wally Wood would be mine.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I would agree with Al Williamson. I guess the more current inker is Stefano Guadiano that I like.
I don't know the stuff.
Ooh, there's a dude named Matty Bergara. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. He's also, more contemporary, really, 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 really good.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. I mean, obviously Klaus Janson for me. I'm old, so he comes to mind. But actually, now that I think about it, a lot of my favorite artists today, they pencil and ink at the same time.
That's true.
Yeah, so there's not that many inkers that just ink that I know of. I'm not saying they're out there, but I'm less aware of them, I guess. Well, actually, I'll say Richard Friend, but he's going to be doing penciling and inking on this next book. But he's an incredible inker.
What does he draw?
He's going to be doing Blaster Kid. That's going to be his comic coming out. But he's an incredible inker. He's been around for 20 years or something. Do you know Travis Charest or Charest? Do you know who that is? He's
yeah, that guy's awesome.
Incredible artist. I mean, Richard Friend inked him on Wildcats, and it's just probably some of the best art I've seen, in any sort of major run.
Yeah, it was cool to see his evolution go from a Jim Lee copycat in the beginning to breaking off and becoming like his own artist.
Yeah,
his own style.
100%, because there's nobody that looks like him. You're not going to confuse anybody with his artwork at all.
No, it's very unique.
There's a manga artist whose inks I really like, Taiyo Matsumoto. He did Attack on Concrete. He did a series called Samurai. He did a series that they turned into an animated series. I don't know if it's on Netflix, but it's all about ping pong. And the way he inks is just so loose and fluid. It's amazing. So I also really like his style. It's kind of worry-free, which with ink is always kind of is amazing. It's just you get the feeling he's not sweating it too much.
Hey, Metatron's Cube's on. How's it going? He said, I would love to just do inking and let the writer and penciler figure it out for you.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds nice. That sounds really nice. It's funny how it it can sometimes inking a drawing loses a lot of energy along the way. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does happen that you get this really dynamic, energetic pencil drawing, and then you ink it, and it sort of, at least in my experience, it can sometimes become a little static.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, you're never, even with like feathering and hatching, you're still not going to get the value range. So
yeah,
you're always going to lose something for sure. But I think like that starkness of the black and white, that's what always like attracted me to black and white drawing, is just the starkness of like certain areas. And even when I was a young kid, like color wasn't really much. I wasn't really obsessed with color at all. It was always black and white everything. North 3 penciler inker works, but no mention of the immortal Bernie Wrightson.
He was the first person that came to mind. But
I don't think of him as an inker though. I you know what I mean? It's like just because he did everything. So I guess that's why.
Absolutely fantastic though. Yeah, I mean, no doubt. You have that Frankenstein that he did, right? You have an actual hard copy of that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I actually bought a print recently of, I can't remember if that print has a name, but it's one from the book where he's in the box, basically, where Frankenstein's, in the box.
Yeah, I love that.
Crate or whatever.
Oh, man. Yeah, the way the beams of sunlight hit the hay. It's incredible.
Yeah, Bernie Wrightson.
I would love to pick up an anthology of creepy at some point and read them through.
I do have one. I don't know if I've made my way all the way through it.
Okay.
I actually, yeah. It's great. I can't remember what volume I have, but
Okay. Oh, I'm with you.
all right. So that's my gray background.
Let's see it. Oh wow. Yeah, looks good.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Not bad.
Looking real good. Yeah, definitely breaking out his tube from his helmet from that.
So what am I putting in this picture? Anything? Any suggestions? I'll
that
take
painting
suggestions.
of the guy in the water with the shark coming after him. Do you know the one? It's like colonial.
Shark?
Benjamin something or other. Let me look it up. I'll get it for you here. I think that's my vote.
Oh, so you mean do like a traditional, like a
Yeah, do like a classic,
a riff.
a nod to a classic painting, but maybe it's like a Cthulhu monster in the water instead of
Yeah, I don't know that one.
I'll pull it up. I'm sure you've seen it. Watson and the Shark.
Watson and the Shark.
Yeah, Watson and the Shark.
Number 3 will be at the next Alterna auction for retail. Yeah, I will, and I am going to be doing more of those modular cards. So I'm doing the next set of 3 definitely for that. So I'm not sure when it is. Usually it seems to be around the middle of the month, but we'll definitely announce it.
Those cards turn out so great. Do you think you'll continue doing the same sort of style that you have been doing with those, Fabrizio?
Yeah, I mean, I did do watercolors last time, so that was really nice. It was very subtle, but I think it was just a different. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It worked. It worked. I did have to really go to lengths to flatten them after I did the watercolors. That took longer than I thought, but it was definitely worth it, I think. So I think I'll probably alternate between those modular cards that I was doing and maybe some of the watercolor. It was really fun doing other alternate characters though. So I really want to do more of those. It was just fun doing different characters that I've never done before.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw those. I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, I did Can't Kill Cade. I did a couple Can't Kill Cade.
Did you post them on Twitter? Or?
Yeah, they should be on Twitter. What else did I do? I did some King Cryptids, and I'm blanking. Oh, and I did Lord Cyphus from Blood Realm.
Oh, nice.
That was fun to do. Yeah. Throw a splash of red on there. Yeah, those were really fun to do.
You know, we're talking about inkers. I forgot to mention Ryan Wynn. He's a fantastic inker.
Of course, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wonder if it's still. Again, I don't know this, but I wonder if you took all the sort of current comics being made, how divided up the penciler inker, numbers were. I would be interested to find that out.
Like, what's the ratio on average?
Yeah, I mean, because originally, obviously, inking was we'll say, artificial sort of division to start with,
Mm-hmm.
And then it became standard. And then I wonder if, with all these indie creators, maybe it's sort of merging back into like one skill set.
It seems like digital might have played a part there too.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty short, pretty easy to just switch over.
Yeah, that and just being indie, because you're doing it all yourself. You have to pay for it yourself, so you're probably just better off inking it yourself.
Yeah.
It kind of necessitates that combination, combining those skills.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I remember I was working on a comic anthology and someone asked me, "Oh, are we getting a letterer? Who's going to be doing the lettering for this project?" I was like, "It's you.
Congratulations.
You're going to be doing it. Congratulations. It's going to be you. You do not have a letterer."
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the biggest things for me. I'm like, am I seriously going to do the lettering for my comic book? I mean, never have come close to inking anything. I don't have a design background. This is like the furthest away from my skill set. So it took some time, but it's nice whenever you're working on something to switch gears like that, you know, to go from the art side or the writing side to the art side and then to the lettering, which is, you know, it's obviously its own art form, but
yeah,
it was fun.
It's fun. How are you both handling the lettering? Fabrizio, I know you were playing with possibly creating your own font for a little bit there.
Yeah, eventually I will.
Okay.
Probably in between a few comics, I'm going to go back to doing my own font, at least for Horace to have his own font.
Mm-hmm.
And I use Illustrator, and there's a plugin that I use to generate that font.
That's right. How about you, Ben? Do you, when you do your lettering, how do you handle that?
I do that through Clip Studio.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they have some decent tools on there. It's probably not as I don't know what the word is. You probably can't manipulate the bubbles as well as you can if you did it in Illustrator.
Yeah.
But since I don't have Illustrator, just work with what I got.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a chunk of change.
Yeah, I worked in Affinity for a while as a replacement for Illustrator, but it didn't work. It's a great program, though, no doubt.
Yeah, I bought that. I just haven't had time to mess with it. I have both the Affinity Design and Affinity, just the regular Photoshop one, I guess.
Yeah, Affinity Photo. Really, I think they're really well-designed apps. Let's see, North Free. Does anyone know how much of a pay gap there is between artists and inkers? Because obviously pencilers do most of the work. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I've heard numbers in the past. I don't know what they are sort of standard, you know, for like the big two versus indie versus, yeah. So I honestly don't know. Does anybody here know?
Yeah, I don't know.
I do not know either.
Yeah. I do think that's why back in the day, a lot of artists, they would work on like multiple books at a time because you know their page rate is set, and the only way they're going to make more money is to do more pages, you know, in a specified amount of time. So that's why like Kirby and Buscema and those dudes were working on I don't know how many books at once.
Yeah, that is wild. That was a time too when people didn't really pay attention to who was making what, you know. 8-year-olds weren't like, oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. I think about that. It wasn't until much later when I really started following writers or following artists. You know, there's that certain point where you just look at the names in the credits as opposed to the name on the front page.
Mm-hmm.
And even to this day, I had to go back and I'm like, man, there's this really great run, you know, Daredevil run or something. And I didn't remember who was writing or who was drawing it. So I'll have to go back even to this day. I'm like, I had no idea.
It's funny because every now and then you'll be like, who was that? Then you'll go back and, oh, of course it was this person. Oh. I've had that happen a couple of times where I'll be like, it's even neat when you run across. I had this like King Arthur book with really just the coolest illustrations ever, and I was looking through this guy's like, he does artwork for Rodney Matthews. He does artwork for like rock and roll, like heavy metal stuff, like Iron Maiden, stuff like that. And I was like, man, his painting style is really familiar. This is really weird. And it turned out, he illustrated this like book of King Arthur stories in just the most heavy metal sort of way. It was really cool.
All right. I'm taking suggestions on what to put in this picture. Anybody? North Free, Metatron's Cube? If not, I'm just going to wing it and do scary person in a suit.
Something maybe.
I'm going to have to draw it first, though.
There any symbols? Are there any like symbols associated with the Cthulhu mythos?
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
really
know how
want to.
directly you want to tie it to.
I don't.
Okay.
Unless I can think of something funny. I don't necessarily want to tie it.
You should do a family photo of Horace with like his parents, and they both have different types of vacuums for heads.
Yes. Yes. That's really good.
It would be funny.
At some point, even if you don't do it here, you have to do
One's
it.
a broom and one's a mop. Like the dad's the broom and the mom's the mop.
I love it.
How
It's
about
fantastic. The little dustpan child between them.
Yeah, dustpan little brother.
It's so good. Garfield. Just put Garfield in there.
I hate Mondays.
I hate Mondays. That's crazy. I hate Mondays too. Garfield's so crazy.
He knew what was up.
He knew what was up.
He tapped into the zeitgeist.
He really did. That's nuts. I too just like Mondays.
All right, I'm just gonna go with a dude with a crazy mustache.
Nice.
That way, I can bring him back.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be anyone.
Yeah, crazy mustache.
First appearance. That issue is going to be worth so much. First appearance of Crazy Mustache Man.
Yeah.
Issue 53. Variant cover. Buddy of mine was doing a little comic on just the grading, how comics are graded. And he did this cool thing where it's a sequential sort of story. And he's following this one Wonder Woman book that he had as a kid. And he's like, then our basement flooded. And although it was rescued, it sustained some slight water damage along the bottom, bringing it from a 7.5 down to a 7. Because he flips comics for a living.
Oh, okay.
So he's got this encyclopedic knowledge of the comics sales world and how you grade all these and stuff. Just those.
I do not have that. All right, so this is what I decided.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you can tell it in here. So this is going to be an isometric side view of a house that you can look into. Nate, you know about the game Requiem House that I had started that Ken bailed on. Yeah. So it's going to be my little nod to Requiem House.
Cool. Yeah.
Just to explain it, it was an augmented reality game where basically you had a picture that you put on your wall, like a room or something, and then you stacked these drawings on your wall, your real wall, and then when you used augmented reality, the rooms came to life and told the story.
Oh, nice.
So this is going to be my little nod to Requiem House.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I wonder if you could, it'd be neat to adapt for Horace, that concept.
Yeah, I think I'm going to. I have been doing like these little fake advertisements. I haven't done Requiem House yet, but I will be incorporating that in and then actually using it into a story. Let's see, North Free. I've seen a certain inker make an artist's work better and another simply bring it down. Heck, there were inkers who ruined even Kirby's work. 100%.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's why, I think people sometimes prefer to ink their own stuff because you just don't know what you're going to get. Back in the day, if you had a famous inker, or at least somebody with a career that you could look at, you knew what to expect to a certain degree. But man, I can imagine spending all this time working on a drawing and then having an inker come in and really not convey what you were trying to convey. That's got to be really tough.
Yeah, I think that inker he's talking about was Vince Coletta.
Yeah.
Vince.
What was his deal?
I'm trying to remember. I saw like this half-hour video about it that this guy was talking about this inker specifically, how he came in and just ruined Jack Kirby's artwork.
Yeah, he would leave stuff out. So, they had like the original pencils, and then you would look at the inks, and there would just be detail on things that either wasn't rendered. He would leave it out. I know exactly what you're talking about, Ben. That's tough.
Yeah.
That would be very frustrating. Yeah, that would be shame on Vince Coletta.
For shame.
Shame.
Although if you do ink your own work, you can just be like, "Oh, you stupid Fabrizio! Why did you do this here or there?"
No one else. The buck stops there, huh?
Yeah, it's like, but it's almost honestly like a second chance to draw something. I look at it that way. So if you pencil something and we get to the inking stage, you have fresh eyes on it. Maybe you can fix things you didn't see before. So I think it can be a benefit.
I agree. I feel that way big time with hand lettering, because when I pencil in letters, no matter how carefully I do the spacing between letters and words, it's always pretty janky. So going back over and inking it, I can shift things around a lot to be a little more even. So I definitely agree. It is like a total second chance stuff. Try to fix things.
You should just blame your interns, and that's it.
I know, it was my stupid interns.
Yeah, if you don't like it, it's my intern's fault. Don't worry, he's been replaced.
Yeah, exactly.
Out for 2 hours.
It'll never happen again. Not on my watch.
Interns are terrible.
I'm spending a lot of time on this tiny little portrait back here. Hopefully, this is worth it.
I'm gonna selling it. So it's Mustache Man. Does he have a name?
No, it's not Mustache
Man. No,
Man.
it's the Requiem House, right?
Yeah, it's Requiem House. So,
is there a picture on the wall in the house with another picture of Requiem House?
Yeah, I don't know.
They bust out the 0005.
Yeah. This is going to be tough. I'm going to have to adjust my camera here.
Get out your microscope.
Oh, man. The autofocus isn't on. I think that's good. All right. Let's see.
Okay, now I can see it a little better.
Yeah.
And we have a little tentacle popping up from underneath the house, which is all story-based stuff.
So talking about things that we maybe don't enjoy drawing as much, like picture frames and rows and rows and rows of books. What are some things you both enjoy? Like, oh boy, I get to draw whatever it is.
I mean, for me, it's always anatomy.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there's not a lot of... Now, there's some anatomy in H.H.Hoover, but there's not a ton. If I could do like a Conan book where everybody's half naked, I'd love to do that. And I mean, I have an idea in the future, maybe someday, but yeah, that would be me 100%. If I could just do pure anatomy, I would love it. What about you, Ben?
I hate drawing buildings. Like cityscapes in the background, because they're always so one-dimensional when I do them. And they don't have any life to them. As much as I try, it's just...
It's always a challenge. What are some things you really enjoy drawing?
I like drawing faces. Like close-ups of people talking and that kind of thing. The boring stuff, but I also hate foreshortening, like drawing a bird's eye view of people.
Oh, yeah.
Or even worm's eye view.
Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, nothing looks right sometimes when you...
Right.
Weird angles.
Yeah, no matter what, it does feel... I mean, it's forced perspective, so I mean, that's the whole point, but you're right. Sometimes it just doesn't look right no matter what. You can't really use too much stuff for reference, you know. I mean, I guess you could try, but that's not like taking a picture of your hand, you know. It's
right.
I always go back and forth on reference. I know I've seen I think I notice it most in like book cover illustrations, where it's very clear that photo references were used, because you see sort of poses that are action poses, but they're not the sort of action poses that anybody couldn't do just standing still. This sort of makes sense. So I guess I go back and forth on using. There's definitely a place for it, and it's certainly valuable for studying it. But for finished pieces, I just never know.
I definitely agree. I mean, I think I can tell, when people are using reference or not. Yeah. And I think I'm not the first person to say this, but it depends on how you use the reference too.
Totally. Yep.
Can you use it as a starting point? Are you just copying it? Are you tracing it? I think that really makes a big difference. For me personally, I never use reference. And the only reason is because I think it would stick out for my artwork in particular, so I just don't use reference, and I hack and slash until I get whatever I need, hopefully, just through imagination. But I later on, if I had to draw buildings, for example, or something, after I'm done, maybe a week later or something, like I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and study buildings. So the next time I have to do it, I have a little more information.
That totally makes sense. I think, time sitting and spent with the subject. I was trying to draw my wife last night. I successfully drew her legs half the length of her arms. It's always, sweetie, you really don't. This is just how you look to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I was not sure.
It's like the it's the reverse of an Instagram filter. This will make you look worse than you could possibly imagine.
I remember, I was just thinking about this. I remember there was like some sort of open quad day at my school. I went to Cal U, and a bunch of other students were walking around. I had my drawing pad out, and a lot of other students who didn't know me kind of assumed that meant I could draw. So the people were coming up and like asking for caricatures. Like, I'll do it, but I'm not, I don't draw likenesses. I remember I did one for a girl, and she got up and saw it. She's like, I look like a freak. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
You can't get mad. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what can I do here? What do you want to hear from me right now? What can I say?
That's pretty funny. I've never done caricatures. I can do likenesses.
Yeah.
That's actually that's a holdover from my college days,
How did you do it? I've never been able to do likenesses. I can draw faces, but I can't draw actual people.
Yeah,
You think it's studying?
I mean, it's definitely like really knowing the structure, but I will say this, it's just keep on updating those angles until you get them, and just don't sweat it, because I think as soon as you say likeness, the pressure just gets elevated,
Yeah. I've had that happen many times, where people be like, well, everybody wants to be drawn, but
yeah, they do want to be drawn, but they don't want to see themselves in a three-way mirror at a changing room.
They're not, and they do not want to see themselves as they actually are either. None of us want that. That'd be horrible. But yeah, they want to be drawn in a flattering way.
Yeah, like a sergeant portrait,
Drawing faces is really fun, though. I do enjoy that. As bad as I am at actually making them look like people, I've always enjoyed it a lot. It's really fun.
Yeah, so I think this house actually works, and
Oh yeah, I don't know if you can't get any closer, right? Because
Oh man, really?
well, you've sacrificed a lot of real estate to have us on your stream here.
Well, you know what? I think
Solo layout it.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking good. I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that I can.
Ooh, wow.
So whenever I do the fake ad for Requiem House, then people will know what the heck it is, or they'll be just like, "That's weird,"
Yeah,
and move on.
Yeah. That's weird.
I have been really cognizant of not, saying Horace H.H.Hoover is weird, because that's such a almost a non-descriptor, but there's no getting around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a point. What was I saying? Weird? Yeah, I don't remember now. That's
You
fine.
try to avoid saying he's weird. Yeah. It doesn't tell you much, but
it's also a true descriptor.
Well, he comes from weird fiction, which I don't know if it's just not as much a part, something that we're aware of as much anymore. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, the term weird fiction is definitely
What do you mean by that? Yeah. People like occult. You should say he's occult. Occult is hot right now.
Well, I mean, I do. My little short description is occult, occult detective adventure. I added adventure because I didn't want to. I mean, it's not horror per se. Not to say there isn't going to be some horror elements, but I don't consider it to be like a traditional horror, story. But I like the idea of adventure because I always think of him. He's more like Spaceman Spiff than like Sherlock Holmes or something.
Yeah. Yeah. See that, or like I guess not really, like Flash Gordon.
Not really, but I could totally see him going to a place and having a Flash Gordon adventure.
Yeah. Man, I loved Spaceman's. I still love Spaceman Spiff.
Brilliant.
Just like having so much fun with it.
Exactly.
Stuff is wild. I always thought it would be. I mean, of course, like. I guess like whenever I think about intellectual property and Bill Watterson, I just think Calvin and Hobbes is going to be immortal forever because of what he's done to keep it from being merchandised.
Yeah.
It's just always, it's just going to be forever sort of up on that pedestal.
Yeah, and he only did it for so long.
Yep.
I think it really is going to stand the test of time outside its actual amazing quality, but when I hear a Led Zeppelin song in a car commercial,
whatever.
It makes me really sad.
I think there was I did used to love the Led Zeppelin song "Whole Lot of Love," and I think my love affair with that song finally ended when I heard it on the trailer for the new D&D movie that they're making.
I know.
It was like Ryan Reynolds or something. I'm like, I remember I used to really enjoy that song.
There's no doubt it totally ruins it.
Yeah, it does.
See, North 3 says, I hope everyone checks out Frankie B's Fabrizio sketch card rival, new comic Kaijus and Cowboys on Zoop. Yeah, that's right. It looks great. I mean, Frankie B is an amazing artist, and he calls me. I don't know about rival. He kicks my butt on sketch cards. I'm sorry. He does like full cover color, like the amount of action he puts in a sketch card is crazy.
Yeah, I did tune into one of those auctions, and it was pretty amazing what he was doing. Even the amazing colors that he puts into it too. It's just eye-popping. It's really cool. You had him on the live stream. Was that last weekend?
Yeah, last weekend.
That's really neat.
Yeah, he was doing some cards for Camp Rainbow.
Oh, cool.
Which is a great comic. I just read it like a week or so ago. That was fantastic. All right, Requiem House. I think I'm done.
Hold
Right?
on, let me see. Could you switch it to that one view again?
Yeah, sorry.
See it now? It's fine. Yeah,
That's-
looking good. I like it.
It's
not,
a tiny little house.
Yeah, it's not, but it's not calling too much attention. It's like a nice background feature. That's really cool. I think I'm about finished. Let's see if it-
So is that piece a nod to Call of Cthulhu?
This one,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the idol kind of reminds me of a color, like the squat kind of thing.
Right.
But I wanted to just do it a little different, so that's why I made it, essentially it's a container, so he's about to turn a key and open this idol. So that was my little take on it, which I thought at least makes it a little different, a little more like mysterious, I guess.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I hadn't seen the key.
Yeah, when I color it, I might be able to call it out a little more in the inking, but it's just, I think it's just going to be tough until I color it.
Yeah. Oh, it looks great, man.
Thank you.
Makes me want to know more about the cosmology of Horace Hoover's, the Hooververse.
The Hooververse.
Yeah, like what is the? Because there are definitely some unfathomable eldritch horrors out beyond the boundaries of our.
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing is because depending on what pocket universe he's in and what happens, that can all change, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just do the whole thing. I think I'm almost done. It can be completely different, so that's why I can do sort of traditional horror. I can do sci-fi. I could do a western. I could do Victorian horror. So it really lends itself to lots of different environments and monsters and characters.
It's almost like the original Star Trek series. You made me think that when you said western.
Yeah.
The episodes where they just go next door to whatever western TV set is not filming at the moment.
Yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
This is the western episode. But it's really fun. That's a fun amount of freedom to give yourself.
Alrighty. Yeah, I think I'm done. And I'm done with this piece.
Ooh, nice.
So next stream I'll start a new one.
It's looking fantastic.
Thank you. I think it turned out pretty good. Not bad.
Absolutely.
I'll color it, make it a poster. I am going to work on the reflection, so I have to put some white paint in some areas to finish that up. But I think I'll do that some other time.
Yeah, it's looking really sharp.
Yeah, it looks great, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what colors I always find it exciting to see what colors you pick out for these. It's often unexpected.
Yeah, I have a limited palette, so it forces me to choose some, like you said, unexpected things. How do I solo you, Nate? How do I?
I'll show my map.
There should be little dots. Yeah.
Oh,
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine is about done too. I
Wow.
want to fill in the reflection. I'm going to take off the tape for a second and show it. Yeah, I think I'm going to use this at least for promo art for when the book is closer to being done, but all I have to do really is fill in. This is just going to be some brushwork to fill in this reflection and the waves. We've got the huts where the humans on this island live. We've got this little clearing where there's a magical cave and a fountain, and we don't know what that is yet, but we're going to find out in the story. It's a giant dead tree that might uproot at some point later on in the third act of the story.
Nice.
And then one of the fortresses of one of the twin brothers up top here. So yeah, that's the,
Very nice.
the whole island.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love the vertical layout.
Thanks. Yeah. I wanted it to be a very not islandy shape. So yeah. Thanks.
Well, I like the water splashing you have down at the bottom.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Kind of popping out of the frame, almost.
Yeah. Breaking out
Yep.
that sort of like geometric flow. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of variation in values too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, very
turned
nice.
out good.
Awesome.
I'll be honest. There were times I think where we left off in the drawing, which what you were saying earlier, Fabrizio, about coming back to things. That definitely rings true for this one because this would just sit, and I was not a fan of it. But now that I see it all finished, it turned out in a satisfactory way. So
Yeah, that's cool.
These are fun.
North 3 Fabrizio is the Hooververse influenced at all by Hellboy or Doctor Strange? I mean, insofar as Hellboy was influenced by Lovecraft, I'll say. I actually like the comparison to Doctor Strange because that's just kind of trippy, and I think there will definitely be some stories and some issues that'll be as sort of trippy as more of like a Doctor Strange kind of story. But I think, to start off with, it's going to be very occult, paranormal, supernatural stuff with a little bit of otherworldliness, and it's going to diverge pretty quickly whenever I start doing the ongoing series from any sort of Lovecraft, Hellboy, or Doctor Strange stuff. But I do like to compare it in some ways to that stuff so people have some idea what to expect. For me, I think it's a combination of all the stuff that I love. So it's a little bit of this, a little piece of Lovecraft, maybe a little piece of Scooby-Doo, a little piece of, Spaceman Spiff and Calvin and Hobbes. So ultimately what the end product is, it's almost like I have to kind of wait and see, but those are my influences, I think. Thanks for...
Yeah, really. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I like the comparison to Doctor Strange, though, because Doctor Strange is very much like an expert in his field, and Horace is sort of in a similar way where there's research that needs to be done. He knows where to go to do that, or he knows in a lot of cases, he knows the due processes to follow for these things that are not things that we normally encounter in everyday life.
Yeah, I like the comparison more to Doctor Strange than like a Hellboy or something like that. Yeah. Obviously Hellboy is amazing. I'm just saying that don't expect that for Horace necessarily. Yeah, so North Free, great pieces, Fabrizio and Nate. Thank you. Can you show yours, Ben?
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Please, yeah, I would love to see.
Give me a second.
I don't know about the bid, North Free. Maybe this will be at an auction, but I haven't decided just yet.
Bidding starts now.
Yeah, Fabrizio, if you click on the share screen. It looks like another person just popped on, but it's the screen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's just a page I'm roughing in right now.
Nice.
These are great faces. I love these expressions. It's looking really good.
Thank you.
Is that, how long did that panel where they're all sort of situated around the table, I feel like that'd be a toughie to... How long did that take to sort of map out the positions of everyone?
It took me a couple of tries.
Gotcha.
You can see like the layers I have on the right hand side.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I didn't type myself, so I couldn't tell you the time exactly.
Yeah.
Did you use photo reference for those?
For the guy's face in the middle.
Yeah.
That's pointing the cigar. Yeah, I did for his face.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they look nice, but they don't look necessarily like photo reference. Like you captured just like the sort of the essence.
Yeah, I just used it more for like, what do the eyes look like? What's the face doing?
Yeah.
How does it stretch out? Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
That's awesome. So this is part of a horror story for an anthology.
This one it's going to be like a short 4-page steampunk story that I'm doing for a friend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love steampunk. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's very fun. Sweet.
Right, cool. I think I'm gonna be. I think this is the end here.
Right.
Yeah, cool. So thank you guys for dropping in. Thank you, Ben, for letting us know we weren't live.
Yes,
No
appreciate
problem.
that.
Again, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for
It
me
was a lot
too.
of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, North Free and Metatron Cube and Pete, whoever stopped in. And have a good weekend. And I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.